What you can expect between 6 and 12 weeks after your loved one has passed away is that the denial begins to wear off. The reality sets in. Denial's not a bad thing. Denial is very helpful. It helps people. And sometimes it can be a good thing, and in this case, there's times when it is. I've heard people say, well, they're in such denial, but what happens is the body becomes so overwhelmed with all those emotions at one time. And that's a natural thing when a person goes into a denial, so that they can accept bits and pieces of information at a time in a way that they can deal with it. But by that time, they have worked through that. The reality of it has hit full force. And during that period, people will become very tired, fatigued, maybe moody, having difficulty engaging in any activities, or they lose interest in activities that they once enjoyed doing. During this time, some people desire isolation. It could be that they have been very overwhelmed with an outpouring of the community and people calling daily, and maybe they just want some time now for themselves. And they find that, of course, nights are the worst time for them. They can be home and be busy around the home, taking calls, but nights are quiet. And that's not the time when they want the isolation, but there's no choice for it then. But it's very difficult because they may look over in the corner and see their loved ones not in the recliner beside them, and the house gets really quiet. It's not unusual for the bereaved to feel the need to tell their story over and over and over. That's a very common thing that we see. So we encourage people to find someone that you trust and someone that you know won't mind you telling your story over and over and over, because you know who they are. Some people don't want to hear your story over and over and over, but there's people in your life that will say, you tell your story as often as you need to, and you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning if you want to tell your story. Those are the people that you need to reach out to. And it'll reach a point to where after you've done that, you don't feel that need or that urgency or feeling like you have to talk about it as often. That's a sign of healing and making progress in your grief journey. It's not unusual during 3 to 4 months, during that time frame, that you begin having some good days. It's not all bad days. You start noticing that you will have some good days, and that's important. You need some good days. But they're going to intertwine. You're going to have good days, and you're going to have bad days. Also, during that time frame, your immune system takes the hardest hit. You know, you were emotionally and physically exhausted. And also, oftentimes, you tend to not take care of yourself. Maybe your appetite was down, you're not eating as much. Many times, the bereaved was the caregiver of the person that died. So oftentimes, they were neglecting their health prior to the death of their loved one, because their focus is taking care of someone else. And so as time goes on, after the death of a loved one, there's lots of stuff to be done. There's things to go through, business to take care of. So there again, you'll still put your own health and problems on hold oftentimes. So we just encourage you, don't let it keep going on, because during this time, that's when your physical body is going to be affected the most. See your physician. Make sure you're in good health, getting what you need. Make sure you're eating. And if you're not feeling like eating, well, make the meals that you do eat count. Make sure it's something that will help you and it's good nutrition. And try to get the rest that you need and exercise so that you can begin to heal and recover physically as well as emotionally. It's so important to do your grief work. And that's why it's called work. It's not easy. That's one of the hardest things you will find that you will do, is working through your grief. And it's not the time that matters so much. You know, you hear to take your time. It's going to take time. You hear a lot about time. But what's important and it's going to help you is what you do with that time and the work that you do. And anytime you're grieving and you're having to work through this, it is emotional and physical work. This is going to help you to know when you are healing, when it's time to start that next phase in your life. You will know. And by the time you reach the 18th and the 24th month, hopefully, depending on how hard you work that year, you will be at a good place. You will be ready to look to the future, to make some positive changes in your life, which you've hopefully already begun to do, establishing some new relationships or friendships, maybe some new hobbies, doing some things you've never done before. The future is bright. It may not feel that way right now, but it will be, and it will get better.